after yet another early playoff exit. The 76ers might need to add a big star here in hopes of taking that next step, pairing someone with Embiid and Maxey. So ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported the Sixers would love to add 9-time All-Star Paul George, though we've heard whispers Brandon Ingram could be plan B if you don't get Paul George. Chris Herring says Philly should go for LeBron, dream big. And according to the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Sixers are prepared to give Jimmy Butler a max salary extension if things align and he forces a trade out of Miami. So they are like star hunting. I know Donovan Mitchell's been linked. Zach LaVine has been thrown out there. Like the possibility of the Sixers getting a big guy. Tass, you got to start it here. Fill in the blank. The Sixers should target blank in free agency.
It's Paul George. They got to go big as possible. You get one shot with Joel Embiid. I don't want to go Eminem, but you got to pay whoever it is as much as you possibly can. And maybe it's Paul George not getting that same amount of money from the Clippers. Kawhi signed an extension. Why didn't Paul George sign an extension? And it was only for 3 years for Kawhi. Maybe Ballmer doesn't want to go 4 years, and that's where the Sixers come in. That's where Daryl Morey comes in for an All-Star last year. This guy was really, really good. I am guilty, like everybody, that kind of just looks past Paul George because we've seen an incredible peak where he was in the conference finals doing his thing, then the injury, and now he's just a really good player and would be a far better player than Brandon Ingram because he can create on his own and create for others and be a great guy when others create for him. He's great on catch and shoots, 45% from last year, and this is just would be a huge bonus for Joel Embiid because that's the other big question in this one. Will Joel Embiid be able to stay healthy? Paul George can take it upon himself to be the number one guy at times. Mm-hmm. While Maxey is very good and did that at times, but now Paul George would be such an upgrade. And with Tobias coming off the books, pay the man who was really, really, really good last year. His percentages are ridiculously good. So I don't know what situation he wants. If he wants to stay in LA, but you look back at his career, he was in OKC, didn't look like he wanted to stay there, signed an extension there.
Left.
And then he left. So, yeah, this could be one of those where you sign a deal and then it's not forever. But no. Who knows? It depends if they win. OKC obviously didn't win. Russ left. And then it was a different team. But this is you got to show Embiid for one final time. I mean, you got to put all your chips in.
Right.
And there's nobody else that's better out there.
What about LeBron James, if available? I know. Okay, so you say the Sixers with a realistic board of names that they could go get in free agency, you would have Paul George.
I don't know if that's realistic as well. I mean, he has a player option for next year. He could be easily say, sure, I want to stay in LA. Mm-hmm. I'm an LA guy. My podcast set is set up here. I'm happy here. Right. So I don't know. Yeah. Nobody knows. But Daryl Morey, he takes risks. And this would be a risk at 33 years old as well. He's not young.
Fill in the blank, TK. Are you going with Paul George or somebody else?
Somebody else. I actually disagree. I don't think they should go after a big star. Paul George is 34 years old. This guy wants to be paid 4 years, $212 million. You're $50 million when he's 38. He played 74 games last season. That's awesome.
Damn, he's 34. I keep saying he's 33. Just turned 34. You're right. You're right.
But the previous 4 seasons, 48 games, 54, 31, 56. You got to have an absolutely reliable guy next to Joel Embiid because he's going to miss 20 games. Mm-hmm. And Embiid should play like 50 games a season at this point. So you have to be awesome when Embiid is out. And to me, that doesn't mean spending all of your cap on Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George. I also don't think they should go for like Jimmy Butler. He's old. Shouldn't go for Brandon Ingram. He's always hurt. LeBron, sure. I mean, honestly, I would take LeBron. He's the number one choice. If he wants to play for you, get him. I don't care if he's hurt because he'll be there in the playoffs. Right. OG Anunoby would be awesome, but I think he's going to stay with the Knicks. Yeah. Klay Thompson, he's old. I would go for role guys. I think it doesn't make sense to pay big three and then all minimum contracts with the second apron coming. So I would rather see the Sixers go after Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Andre Drummond. You get a defensive wing, a guy who shoots threes in KCP, who's always healthy. You get Andre Drummond, who can be a spot starter when Embiid is sitting down. Take that $60 million in cap space they have and get players who are actually going to be able to play for you in the playoffs so you don't have 5 guys like always happens for the Philadelphia 76ers. Look at the teams that are going deep in the playoffs. They've got a lot of good guys, not just 3 good guys, and then they're trying to find the other 2 who are around. So I don't really think the stars and scrubs method is going to work anymore.
Right. And that maybe goes back to what I said with Bobby Marks saying teams were thinking and looking at sort of what the Pacers have done here. That's sort of what you're saying. Maybe the money goes to 2 guys and not 3, because then you have nothing left for the rest of your roster, and maybe you want to fill it out a bit more. When you have an MVP guy in Embiid, always injured, there is that issue. And then Maxey took a jump and is like in the conversation of all NBA, and so maybe you flush it out. They have big decisions here, but Morey does like to go after a big old name. And Paul George is good.
Damn good.
And maybe it's one of those, you're definitely doing a calculation like, damn, we want to win right now. It's got to happen in the first year or 2 of that giant-ass deal for whoever this player is. Let's say it's hypothetically Paul George. And it was going to get real ugly late. If it's whatever you said, 50 plus, close to 60 plus, or close to 60, I should say.
A lot
the numbers
money.
are getting wilder and wilder too, but...
Guys are going to be signing $80 million a year contracts pretty soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Wasn't there was the analysis that it literally could be triple digits at some point.
100 million for a year.
Yes. So Daryl Morey, he's got to do it. He loves going after it. He sure does. And Joel Embiid, how many more years with Philly does he have left? That's my other questions. That's why you try and do this now. But they also it's so strange when you look at their salary breakdown now. I mean, there's like literally nobody signed next year.
Yeah.
Beyond Joel Embiid, Paul Reed, and really not a lot. So, yeah, I think the guy who would put a max type of contract in there, that's Morey. That's Morey style.